Hey everybody, welcome to What the Flick. I am Matt, that is Kim, that's Jason, and that's Jackie. We are talking about the first season of Star Trek Discovery, episode 7, Magic to Make the Sanest Man Go Mad.
This was my favorite episode.
Mine too.
I like this one a lot, although there was an element in here that really bothered me.
What the Groundhog's Day element?
No, I had no problem with that. It bothered me that we're 200 years in the future, and they're rocking out to 200-year-old Wycliffe Jean.
Like, at the party?
At the party. Now, come on, that's the equivalent of us getting down to classical music.
But that's the same thing JJ did in the...
Exactly.
I thought it was an interesting
that was Justin
choice.
Lin, but still, yeah.
Right.
It was great. It was amazing.
Don't get me wrong, that's a great track. I love that track, but it's a little like.
So what should they have been listening to?
I don't know, like music we've never heard before.
Like weird space music?
Yeah, like space dance music.
Okay, so to your point, I get what you're saying, but there is gonna be a nostalgia aspect that I think that certain time periods are always gonna be like romanticized. So I was taking it as like, okay, rock music, whatever comes later, is going to be romanticized from like certain time periods.
I hear you. It's just, for me, it's the equivalent of us all rocking out to something from like 1805.
What song was it exactly?
It was Praz, John Forte, and Wycliffe Jean. The name of the song, I can't. God, I had this.
But it's the one where they remix, they sample
Staying Alive. Yeah, I didn't have a problem with it. I thought that was just a random choice.
Just going with their disco shirt.
Ghetto Superstar?
No, it wasn't Ghetto Superstar.
Yeah, I can't remember.
And nobody was wearing the disco shirt.
Yeah, I just remember the song, but I can't remember the name.
Okay, minor thing though, because the rest of this episode was pretty rad.
Yes.
Now, Kim, you tweeted yesterday that this was one of your favorites.
And people love to throw in the comments, the Orville is better. I didn't ask you. I said this felt like Star Trek instead of just, this is a sci-fi series that is kind of generic. It felt like Star Trek because we had this emotion. I know there are certain tropes of the time travel or rewinding time in previous Star Trek iterations. And it was fun, it was enjoyable. I'm really cool and I party hard, so I had a cup of tea and I forgot about the cup of tea for the whole episode. Yeah. And it was cold because I loved it so much.
That's the Kim Horcher seal of approval, you guys. I agree with you, Kim. I thought that it had, the emotion was great. I love the reveal to Stamets of her never being in love. I thought she was gonna say something a little bit more grim and morbid, but her revealing that to me was like, oh, okay. Like, it was super relatable, supernatural. I thought Stamets was fantastic in this. I also felt that, for what it's worth, Tilly, it was great to see her let loose a little bit, have a little party going on.
As the CW character, she definitely served her purpose in this episode of being like, let's party, I'm gonna be in love with the band member.
I'm gonna get wasted,
Drunk Tilly was fun, and I liked her little party outfit.
Right, yes. She's like, I'm fabulous, you guys are all peasants.
Oh, and then can we just talk about real quick Tyler Burnham and just like the ship is already sailed for those two as far as how much people are gonna be like, get it on, come on, the two of y'all, get it together, get it together.
There was a little angst there, but I'm glad. I'm glad that she has. I mean, okay. So again, I'm coming at this series from someone who's not a Trekkie, so I critique it from just the overall elements that are in this show and just watching it as just like I'm watching any other TV show. And I thought that the emotion that was there, the chemistry was real. There's nothing worse than watching a TV show with a couple and they have zero chemistry. And at first I thought maybe Tyler's not gonna be able to have, it's not gonna be believable, but I'm so here for it. So here for it.
No, that's exactly.
That kiss, ooh.
Yes, I feel that is, first of all, they're just setting it up to failure though, because we all know this is gonna end so badly and I'm ready for it.
Is this self-sabotage?
Between the two of them as a couple, like it's just not gonna work because we have our theories.
We have a theory that he's a spy.
Yes.
For not her side.
Yes. And I just feel like they're just setting it up almost too transparently. I wish they would have like teased it out a little bit more because this is the thing with like conversation like that, will they, won't they, is half the fun. And they've already said, yeah, they are.
Well, and we talked about this a little bit earlier in one of the earlier episodes. We are looking at, she's gonna feel betrayed if our theories are correct. And I still think she's gonna end up having to consider going mutiny against Lorca as he continues to lose his mind.
And deteriorate. And there's a certain aspect for me that I thought in this episode is how calculated is his affections for Burnham if our theory proves correct.
Right.
Like how much of it is just him saying this is the person who's going to fulfill my final objective.
There was a huge elephant in the room that kept just slapping me in the face watching this last night, and it was Mud. Mud, okay guys, so I know you guys all have theories about Mud, and you guys are, some of you
Mud
are,
is a long-standing, this is where your Star Trek ignorance is not gonna serve you well, because he's a
Star Trek ignorance.
He's a long-standing character and beloved within the series that goes all the way back to the original series.
So I understand the significance of Mud and his significance within the Trek universe. However, Rainn Wilson, I feel as though the delivery of everything is just so over the top, and the gravitas is just so not needed. It's just it's very inauthentic.
It's an interesting point because the actor that played Harry Mudd in the old series was super over the top, almost clownish, and this was a little bit different because I felt like Wilson brought this really darker edge to him.
He grounded the character. Like that's what I mean when I say it, because I've had a couple of friends of mine who don't follow Trek like I do, and they said the exact same thing, and I'm like, actually, Rainn is doing a really good job of grounding this really cartoonish character, which a lot of the villain or anti-heroes in the original series had. I mean, there's a great episode with Ron Howard's little brother where he plays the baby overlord. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that from the
Clint
original.
Howard.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So
even as a kid, he looked creepy and weird.
Yes. Whatever. So anyway, he's doing a good job, I will say, even though I will admit, look, if it wasn't for Stamets, Stamets was the show for me. This whole episode was just him.
I loved him this episode. At first it opened with the weird Stamets of, oh, he's acting off.
Yeah,
but then over time, I loved his, and I felt it with him where he was just frustrated and trying to communicate. Please listen to me. This is what's happening. This is what the truth is. I need you to cooperate. We're running out of time. I've watched everyone die 52 times now. Please, please, please. And I really felt that tension there because you think, how the heck would I get people to believe me if I were in this? It's completely unbelievable.
And then I loved how they made him into Burnham, but did it in a way where I was like, see, Burnham, if you're gonna be this stupid character that's trying to tell people what to do it this way. Don't do it the crappy way that you've been doing it that gets you always locked up into the brig. And they managed to bring back another Free Willy.
What?
Another whale. What is with this show and large mammal-like creatures being brought?
Space whales.
Yeah, space whales are cool. Why don't space whales shame?
I am on this because
first it was a tardigrade. Now it's what was the space? What was the actual term for the space whale?
It's something Gorga.
Gargonzola. Yeah, it was a lot.
Yeah.
It was really interesting seeing Lorca die over and over again.
Yeah.
That was great. That 53 times, and every single one of them, it never gets old. Best line in the whole show for me.
Yeah.
What was going on though? I was a little confused about what happened with Stella.
That was a little.
Why does she like him so much?
Yeah, that was the thing that I kind of that rang really false with me.
By adding Stella, unfortunately, and then obviously if you know the timeline of the show, we already know that it's only 15 to 12 years removed from the original series, but adding her and that dynamic, if you look at the original series, Stella, they aged up a lot. There's some things that happened. This is
That's hard living.
Yeah, it's some whatever. I think adding her dynamic didn't help.
As far as aging, it's nothing like Ewan McGregor turning into Alec Guinness in 20 years.
Or let's talk about McAvoy turning into Patrick Stewart in the X-Men. Yeah. Again, I know this is what happens to use Doctor Who. It gets timey-wimey. We just have to kind of accept it a little bit, but I don't think adding her helped. I think they were trying to give an Easter egg to original series fans and sort of move that along. But Harry Mudd right now doing what he was doing, I liked, and just adding her, I felt it didn't serve.
How'd you guys feel about the whole Groundhog's Day element of it?
I love time loop episodes.
Yeah. So is that something that they've done previously on Star Trek?
Yeah. In Next Generation, there was one called Cause and Effect that they kept repeating the same thing.
Yeah.
Same elements, a little bit different because you don't see anyone actually remember anything the way this one does. So but seeing Stamets basically being Bill Murray in this, I actually would have liked this storyline to take place earlier than say the last episode, because this one I would have bought where Stamets's character has gotten so loopy, pun intended, as opposed to when we've seen him previously where he's just like suddenly just
Weird.
off the deep end, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the things in his arms, like, are we gonna still get this Christ-like motion from him every time they? I don't know. That's it. They're still making some weird choices, but I agree with Kim. This is one of the better episodes. I like this one a lot.
But do you still feel like, so I had a question, and maybe Kim, you can answer if you felt the same way I do. I just wonder how many women are in the writer's room of this show. Because I feel like when it comes to the female characters on this show, and I'm not trying to make this big thing about it, they don't really serve them well. Like Michael's whole romance with Tyler didn't feel believable from her end. And then Tilly, again, this episode more than anything, whenever they give a male character his hero show, it's awesome. When they do it for the female characters, it always feels wooden. And I just wonder why.
I don't know. I mean, we've been talking before about how Burnham seems to be the worst or most inconsistently written character, and we don't understand why that's happening. Ironically, I talked to the writer from Xena this weekend, and he was talking about, his words were that sometimes men don't know how to write female heroes, and that's something he struggled with in the writer's room too.
Because like this is kind of, I would say Stamets episode, right? Like I don't think anyone would disagree with it, and it's awesome. And then last week was Sarek's episode. Even though he wasn't really in it, it was still like his hero. It just seems to me like that's what I picked out of this episode is like every time they give a male his hero episode, it's awesome.
Well,
and Lorca's was yet last episode.
That's a great point, Jacqueline. I do think when you watch, I mean, I've watched a lot of series that are female-centric and female-driven, and as we said before, when you have a ensemble cast, you have to keep everything buoyant. You have to give equal parts. There's an ebb and flow to a show. In this episode, I loved seeing Burnham's more personal relationships and her doing things that normal people do, like the kiss. But I feel you on her not having that one breakout episode, but yet we still have so many more episodes to go. Like I said before, it may be a slow burn.
Well, I mean, the first two I feel were her episodes.
Well, because that's established.
Yeah, that's establishing her, but they also weren't really the strongest. Whatever. It's a
great point, though. It's a great observation.
This is a larger conversation. Because I do feel like her writing is the worst. I'm not saying that her character will not get better, but I'm just noticing Star Trek always does this where they give characters hero episodes. And when I watched this episode, I thought of all of the various Tasha Yar and TNG, her hero episodes, how great they were. And then also Deanna Troi and like even McFadden, Crusher, Dr. Crusher. She had great hero episodes. Where's Michael's good hero episode?
Maybe, I wonder if that's somewhat a function of her supposed to be this conflicted character and they haven't nailed that yet, right? I mean, and we haven't seen a Tilly hero episode yet. Either.
But whatever, I'm not looking forward to their, how they're writing them now does not give me hope.
Okay.
I would love, I don't know if I would want to see a hero episode. I mean, again, as someone that hasn't grown up watching Trek, I'm not familiar with the hero episodes, but I think I'm glad that they're giving equal parts to the other characters. I'm glad we're getting to know more. And I'm not saying you're not glad. I'm just you make a very salient point that like they're writing her is just very underwhelming. But what's obviously the fans are loving, it's been renewed for season 2.
It's been renewed for season 2, and I think that as we've got not very much time before we have to get out of here, we are seeing that this particular episode is showing that they're moving in the right direction, right? Like they're capturing a tone. We're seeing better episodes as we go along. I'm excited to see the next few. We're gonna get the next half of the season after a brief hiatus. That's gonna be awesome.
Are?
I think
didn't
so.
know
In January, about in January. It was announced on Friday.
I gotta pause that CBS All Access.
Can we also talk about like since we're ending on season 2, like I'm happy they're getting a season 2, but like let's talk about this paywall. Like,
that's a whole other discussion.
Does that protect the show, or does it really just hinder it?
That's a long discussion that we're gonna have because unfortunately we're out of time because we're behind a paywall. No, we're not, but we're gonna have to get to that. We will bring that up at our next episode, actually. We'll have that discussion. We also didn't even talk about the actor Anthony Rapp, who's also in the news this weekend. So
I don't know if that was too.
That's a whole other thing.
I think it's getting touched on the Young Turks today.
And on other,
Well, thank you for joining us, and we'll be back next week with another episode.